You ever see a sunrise get shattered by the roar of a diesel engine and 100,000 pounds of steel? Let me tell you, it's the kind of thing that changes a man. There I was standing at the edge of my own land, shotgun in hand, watching a yellow bulldozer tear through the gate I welded together. Like my work, my sweat, hell, even my existence meant nothing to the kind of people who think money can buy the sky. Karen Blackwood, president of the HOA next door, sat smug in her black SUV, her little army of hired muscle in tow. She looked right past me, past the 12 gauge in my hands, like I was just another patch of weeds she meant to rip out. That morning, I learned just how far someone will go when they think nobody's going to stop them, and how far a quiet man will go when he finally gets pushed to the edge. This all started over a road, a half-mile stretch of rutted dirt, winding through the trees, ending at my place. 20 acres, 3 sides woods. The last side used to be an empty farm until the bulldozers came and carved out a cookie-cutter slice of luxury living they called Whispering Pines. All those houses, perfect lawns, and rules for everything from mailbox color to how short you cut your grass. Everything we'd run from the city, they brought right up to our fence line. Our dirt road, the one on our deed, suddenly became an eyesore for the folks in their McMansions. They sent letters, fancy ones like wedding invites, asking us to pave the road for community harmony. I damn near choked laughing, but Lisa, my wife, she didn't laugh. She saw what was coming before I did. When the fine started, $100 a day, according to the envelope signed by Karen herself, I tacked that letter to the fridge right next to a drawing Lisa made of a zucchini the size of a Louisville Slugger. Seemed funny at first. We weren't in their HOA. Never signed a thing. But Lisa got anxious. Less zucchini bread, more sleepless nights. And that's when I decided to try talking sense into these people. I walked into their community meeting, still wearing my dirty work clothes, the room thick with lavender air freshener and even thicker with fear of anyone not wearing khakis. I barely got 3 words out before Karen accused me of being hostile to lifestyle aesthetic. She tried to talk over me, waving bylaw books, while her people glared like I'd tracked in manure. But then, right there in the second row, a lady with a binder titled Approved Mulch Varieties pipes up, shaky but clear. "He's right, Karen. The mailbox rules are a bit much." The room froze. Karen's mask slipped. There was the first crack in her empire. That night, I found orange survey flags stuck all along my side of the fence, straight as a rifle shot, running from my gate all the way down to the woods. Someone had come onto my land, staked a claim like I was dead or invisible. I yanked up every last flag, tied them together, hung them on my no trespassing sign. Next morning, Karen herself showed up, flanked by 2 security guards, with necks thick as fence posts, shirts stamped with the Whispering Pines logo. They tried to tell me my driveway was a public right-of-way, some nonsense about an easement. Not on my deed, I told them, and when one put his hand on my gate, I told him flat, "Don't." He smirked, thought he'd scare me. But there's a difference between gym muscles and the kind you get hauling hay and fixing engines. Karen promised she'd be back with a court order next time. I figured she'd push until something snapped. I just didn't think it'd be so soon. A few days later, a couple young punks in a Whispering Pines van tried to tear my gate down with a crowbar. I told them to leave, but they wanted to fight. One shoved me, the other swung that bar like a bat. I put the first one on the ground quick, the way you'd toss a bale over a fence, and I took the fight out of the second with a well-placed kick to his knee. They limped back to their van, left the crowbar behind. I picked it up, heavy and cold in my hand. Lisa tried to hide how scared she was, but at night, I could hear her crying in the next room. That's when I realized this wasn't about a road. It was about fear, about breaking us down. The next hit was worse. Somebody cut our power lines clean through, then threw a rock through our front window, a note tied to it, final notice. Failure to vacate will result in asset liquidation via combustion. Lisa screamed like I'd never heard. She was safe, but something in me hardened, colder than anger. I'd spent 20 years building this life. I wasn't about to let a pack of bullies burn it to the ground. I drove to town, bought the best cameras money could buy, wired the whole place tight. If a squirrel so much as sneezed, I'd have footage. I built a new gate out of steel I-beams, buried deep in concrete. I wasn't looking for trouble, but I wasn't running anymore. And Lisa? She started sleeping with a go bag by the door, just in case. That part hurt the most. The final showdown came at dawn. An army of men and machines lined up at my gate, Karen in her SUV behind the lines like a general at the back of the charge. The bulldozer smashed through my new gate, blade high, roaring like the end of the world. I watched it all on my camera feed, heart pounding, hands steady. Lisa locked herself in the basement, calling 911, just like we practiced. I slipped out the back, took cover behind my pile of old truck engines, shotgun at the ready. The dozer made it maybe 50 feet before I blew out its radiator with a single well-placed shot. Black coolant and steam everywhere, the beast dead in its tracks. The hired thugs tried to press on, but I'd rigged a cord of firewood above the road. One shot, and it all came crashing down, blocking the rest. Now it was just me and them, fists, pipe wrenches, a baseball bat. They rushed me, and I gave as good as I got. Elbows, knees, a few choice words. Took a beating, but so did they. Their leader, Hose, tried to put me down for good. I spat blood in his eye, cracked him in the chest with the butt of my shotgun, watched him go down like a sack of rocks. In the chaos, the youngest guy, the one who never really wanted to fight, broke, crying, handed me a folder full of Karen's forged court orders just as the sheriff's cars came screaming down the road. Karen lost her mind, screaming for the sheriff to arrest me for assault and property damage. Sheriff Miller, old school, not easily impressed, took one look at the fake court order, shook his head, and had her cuffed on the spot. You're looking at a pile of felonies, ma'am. Forgery, trespass, assault, the works. The deputies rounded up the rest, took statements, watched the footage right there in the car. It was all there, the attack, my warning shot, the whole ugly truth. By lunchtime, Karen was headed for jail, her white power suit streaked with dirt, her empire in ruins. The fallout was quick and brutal. Turns out, Karen had been robbing her own HOA blind, running off anyone who questioned her, using those security thugs as her personal hit squad. When the truth came out, her own community revolted, kicked her out, fired the management, even sent over a casserole by way of apology. Bob, a neighbor I'd never met, left a dish of lasagna on my fence post. Most of us just want peace, he said. That night, Lisa and I ate dinner on the porch, the quiet finally back, tasting like a fresh start. We sued the HOA. Their insurance folded fast, paid every penny, fixed my gate, paid our lawyer, and then some. But it wasn't about the money. It was about standing up, about holding the line. In the end, I carve a new sign for the gate. Private property. We defend what is ours. Lisa asked if it was really over. I squeezed her hand. For now, I said. But I knew. Peace is never free. It's earned, and it's fragile. The scars in the dirt out front, the new steel gate, they're reminders. You want a moral? Maybe it's this. Bullies are everywhere, in fancy suits or holding clipboards, always testing the fence, always seeing how much you'll let them take. You stand your ground, not just for yourself, but for everyone who's ever been told to sit down and shut up. That's what I learned. The quietest folks sometimes hit the hardest, and justice, when it finally lands, is worth every bruise, every scar. Now, I got to ask you, where's the line for you? When do you say enough? Is justice about courtrooms and paperwork, or about standing in the mud, hands shaking, knowing you did what you had to do? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me about a time you had to fight for what was yours. Or, hell, tell me where you think the line should be drawn. Hit subscribe if you want more real stories. And don't forget, quiet doesn't mean weak. Sometimes, it's just the calm before the storm.